It's crumbling. Our society is crumbling. You have to look at the whole structure of the country. You have to look at the economic structure, how the government's policy is ran, how does the government look at the agricultural reforms that we're begging for. If this doesn't happen, there is no agrarian reform, there is no industries being put up in the country, there is no stopping or control in the payment of the foreign debt, there is no control on the foreign investors coming into the country, there is going to be a continuous outflow of our women, the continuous exploitation of our women, the continuous degradation of our women, and the dehumanization of the Filipinas.
We would like to say right from the start that we are not against any intercultural marriages. We feel that if there are more intercultural marriages, maybe there would be more, tolerance and more solidarity all around the world. What we really are against in the women's movement about the so-called mail-order brides is the whole commercial aspect.
The reason I started my correspondence with Southeast Asian women was basically a matter of those are the women that are in pen pal magazines to a high percentage, and I decided, well, perhaps I should just write to them, and then I would be able to visit them in one trip. But I really didn't realize, I didn't think about these Asian women as being traditional. I was mainly just interested in the fact that their physical beauty is something I was attracted to. I'm attracted to dark-haired, dark-skinned, and petite women, almost exclusively.
You know, this is my first time to talk with the camera, then to talk about myself, about my love life, then about my pen pal, and about my story of my life. That's why sometimes I assume.
I have two plans in my life. I want to marry a foreigner and live here in my country, or I'll be the one to live also in his place. As of now, I am working here in the City Hall for 10 years. I am a computer of the realty taxes. Then I am very much interested to marry a foreigner.
I received so many letters from other countries. So I was happy that somebody wrote me. So that was that time, and I already forgot my husband. So I do on writing like that.
I did not want really to have an American wife. I found when I dated, I was always to the place where I was finding myself in a debating match, and I had certain things and certain desires that I wanted, and they really never met those desires. These women have been taught that a man comes first. And you might think that's bad, but I tell you, from my perspective, I've liked it.
I think the first question that has to be addressed is the poverty question. Not just in the Philippines, in Sri Lanka, in maybe Indonesia, in India, in Latin America. Why do women and men want to leave their countries? And why do they feel that the best way to get out of the rut that they're in is to find themselves a foreigner to marry?
We are like the natural resources of a country. The women are the biggest group that is exploited in a country. If you're a poor country like the Philippines, the natural resources is exploited to the limits. Unbelievable. It's almost, we're finished with our natural resources. Our forest is empty. Our seas are dead. The big countries coming in, bringing out all our fish, bringing out all our natural resources, and also our people in the country. So what happens to the country now if we don't do anything about it? we become simple workers for the first world.
Well, on the first place, I must submit to my husband. I must submit to my husband. I must be, because it's biblical. It's biblical that a wife should submit to his husband. If it is good for the family, then I must. What he likes for me to be.
I published my name even I'm very young because I'm just hoping that a foreigner can wait me if, to finish my study. To finish my study and they come, if I can finish my study and they come here to get married to me, so I'm just go to him because I'm already finished my study and I can help our family to earn money to my own family if I get married and to my family if in the Philippines. I just want to help my parents.
This issue of mail order bride ties in also closely with colonization, with a history of colonization of the Philippines. Because we still have this colonial mentality with us until now.
Or I'm looking for a man who is responsible, who values family first, then who is honest, God-fearing, because, you know, I'm a God-fearing woman. I'm a Bible-believing woman. Then I'm looking for a man who fears God, because if he fears God, he can do anything. He will not do something that can destroy our marriage because he fears God. Then that man have a stable job, love to have kids, likes nature, like beach, like sports because I love also sports, particularly basketball. Then I'm dreaming of having this.
So when we meet each other, because I am a little bit choosy, I don't like him because he hid his age. He told me that he is 51, but when he arrived, he looks older than his face. He never looks 51 years old. And the other thing is that he has a bad breath. I don't like him.
Well, psychologically, it's a kind of escape. You're going to escape from a life of misery. You're going to have a new life. It's kind of the Cinderella syndrome.
I think we have also to learn to make a distinction between those who are mail order brides by choice or those who, on their own, at all costs, would like to marry a foreigner because it is his personal or her personal choice, and those that are driven into this practice because of economic hardship.
The brown color has become a symbol, especially that dark brown. No? It has become a symbol of poverty.
You know, what do you think when you look at that?
I look this, he's very sexy. I did not think that all guys say that they are very cheap to wear like this because they are very, these people in Cherry Blossom are very modern, and I think this is not bad to him that they wear like this. For us, I don't like to wear like this kind of dress because it's very sexy. It's very open. I don't like that. I don't like that dress.
This whole thing is an insult both to the white woman and the Asian woman.
That's all.
And that's why I feel that this whole thing of the mail order brides, the way it is being presented or being advertised, is an insult. And therefore, it's a feminist issue because it is denigrating the whole women's movement in making the woman, you know, liberated and being able to decide for herself and being non-subservient. Now, that becomes a negative thing. And what is put as the positive thing is the docile which is really an insult too, because not all Filipino women or Asian women are docile and subservient and doormat kind of women. But whether they are talking about white women or the Asian women, they are insulting womanhood. So it's a really eminently a feminist issue, this whole thing. And not only for us, but also for the first world women. And maybe even more for them. And that's why both of us are fighting this whole thing.
But the first time I meet him in the Insular Hotel, they give me a bad expression because they said me bad words, which I don't like to hear from him. Like the words, "Are you still a virgin?" Like that. Or, "Do you want to sleep me tonight?" So, I am a Filipina, and they must respect my Filipina background.
First of all, if the person abroad is seeking a mate through this pen pal system or through a third party, through an agency, there must be something wrong with him or her, because this is not the natural process.
I found out that there are women who have guts, those who are brave to go there. But I told them that America is not just as easy as in the Philippines, but still they have guts.
By virtue of the powers vested upon me by the new Family Court of the Philippines, I hereby pronounce Route and BT to be lawful husband and wife. All right.
I really need a partner, because if you don't have partner, you don't have moral support. So I think I need it. You'll not be respected without husband. We have high respect to the Americans. So if they can say Americans, they have high respect.
There is nothing like being lonely to make you go look for something, to fill a void that you have. I was so depressed after my wife's death that I didn't really even care if I ran my business or not. I could care less if I went to work. My bosses even pointed this out to me. I had an attitude.
So beforehand, I told him I would have to make a nuptial agreement before marrying me, so that I will always be sure that what you have promised me will be that is this
True. Unless we address the poverty issue, it's very hard even for the church to moralize and say, this is bad, it's no good, it's a sin, it offends the Lord. People can't even understand that anymore because of the economic deprivation that they experience. The other aspect, I think, that comes into play is a very low self-esteem and self-worth. Why? Because we are all products of an American colonial education system, whereby, our children are taught in the schools that Magellan discovered the Philippines, which means to a little child, before Magellan came, we must have been savages, we must have been illiterate, we must have had no culture to be proud of. But this is not true. Thousands and thousands of years before the Spaniards came, we had a very sophisticated culture that was practically a perfectionist-oriented culture, which is seen, evidenced by our woven fabrics. We have about 10 to 12,000 specimens that are sitting in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington. And yet, in our own museums, I don't even think we have over 1,000 pieces left. And if you go to the cultural communities where the tribals are found, they are all wearing blue jeans and t-shirts. They don't know where they came from, who they are, so that if you keep instilling that in people's minds, you don't have pyramids, you don't have a Borobudur, you don't have a Notre Dame, then people begin to think that unless we have these things, we're no good. And so that this kind of an education has prevailed, and all of us are victims of this educational system.
It was to extract a big amount of water, but this time some of the gaskets has been destroyed, so it needs a repair for them that they will be afforded with chance to extract more water. Sa ato pa magbumbaha gid mo kada adlaw din para magkuha tubig. So they got to work, they got to pump for themselves in order that they could extract more water.
How many people are in her family?
Pila ka buk sakop mo sa pamilya nang? Imong mga sakop, imong anak, imong apo, ano.
When you do this to a people, you consciously make an effort through government policy to make everybody feel worthless.
She said that her children, she has 8 children and she has 30 grandchildren living within this area. They are distributed around.
They say we are a bankrupt economy because we are lazy. We are bankrupt because we are very unproductive. But what is the cause of this non-productivity?
What would it be?
Doon na kabay ika-istorya bahin sa mga tao sa Amerika. Huwag sa inyong kabutang din eh. She has a story about a message for the American people.
The reason for this is because the leaders who are products of that kind of an educational system now react more positively to an IMF World Bank imposition instead of protecting our interest, our survival as people.
Assistance from the American people, if possible. Priority problem is to have this repaired so that they could extract more water and they will not exert more effort in extracting water in this area.
We never educate our people and say the reason why we are poor is because all of the years before 1986, we have incurred a $26 billion debt.
50 families living in this area, extracting from this well.
What about healthcare? Where does she go when she gets sick?
Inyong mga panty sa inyong panglawas din di ba peligro inyong panglawas?
On the reverse, on the contrary, we tell our people, if we don't pay, then the community of nations will look down on us and we will become poorer.
Actually, they are suffering from some epidemic here because of health problem. Gas pain, stomach pain. As a matter of fact, there are still 2 kids that died just buried yesterday.
So you get into now a entangled mess.
Kuan, gikan na sa akong pagkatao og hantod na minyo ako ni ara kami dinhi nagpuyo. Usay sinta na ako karon ang akong edad. Unyang akong mga bata 8. Ang ilang panginabuhi nara sa basura, mamunita ng mga karton, mga lata na mo kanang panginabuhi sa akong mga anak ug uban sa ako karon. Sa kuan, unya karon ang akong mga anak mo na intay gabuhi sa ilang amahan na masakiton. Ang ilang tang amahan kapinas 2 ka tuig ang pagsakit ni ana sila ra taon ang gabuhi karon. Pinaagi sa panguha sa mga kuan sa basurahan. Kay mao ra gid in taon kana gid karon ang among gipangabuhian dinhi sa basura.
Nakapaskwela ba kamo sa inyong mga anak?
Nakaeskwela ko sa akong mga anak pero di makatampos kay tungod sa among kalisod. Mura gid kana.
As a consequence, you have foreign nations building our schools, digging our deep wells, providing for books for our libraries, which we have to be grateful for. So it's again the big white man that is giving us books. It's again the big white man who's telling us that if not for us, you will be drinking polluted water or you're going to be drinking contaminated water, so you have higher diseases, a higher incidence of disease.
The common perception is whites are educated, whites have more money, they have dollars, while the browns, the brown color has become a symbol, especially the dark brown, no? It has become a symbol of poverty.
Okay, so I think the mail order bride issue is a feminist issue because it brings into focus the image of the Filipina. We are particularly sensitive, especially in the past decade, about how Filipinas are being treated internationally. And with this issue about mail order brides coming in, it becomes a foremost issue among feminists because it ties into a lot of other issues that concerns Filipinas, like Filipinas, well, being into an unequal relationship with men, the same with other Asian women, and Filipinas being treated as mere sex symbols or mere trading commodities used for trade, and issues like, well, Filipinas being known as, or Filipino, the Filipino community or Philippines being known as a haven for R&R, rest and recreation, and for prostitution eventually. So this brings into, this ties all together, all these other issues, and it is heightened by this issue of the mail order bride.
Maybe my future is not here in Filipino. I'm positive. I'm positive, thinking that my future is there in USA, not here in Philippines. That's all.
As long as we keep going out of the country, being cheap labor for foreign countries, sex partners for men, exploited whatever in other places, we can never say that the woman is liberated. And this also means that the rest of the women all over the world is not liberated, because as long as there is a woman that is not liberated in the world, no women's movement can say that the women is liberated.